One Zambia, one nation. Good evening. Welcome to the news at 18 hours on TV2. My name is Chilufia Mwelwa. Our top stories in the news this hour: the Constitutional Court has thrown out 52 witness statements of the 2016 presidential electoral petition. The Bank of Zambia has, with immediate effect, closed 3 financial institutions and placed them under compulsory liquidation. And in international news, the death toll in the Italian earthquake has risen to at least 241 as thousands of rescuers continue efforts to find survivors. And now the details. The Constitutional Court has thrown out 52 witness statements of the 2016 presidential electoral petition. The witness statements filed by the petitioners have been thrown out for non-compliance with the rules of the Constitutional Court. This follows the preliminary motion raised by President Edgar Lungu on Wednesday that requested that the grounds of the petition were irregular and were outside the jurisdiction pursuant to the provisions of Article 128 and Act Number 8 of the 2016 Constitution. The lawyers also demanded that the petition be dismissed as it was filed under wrong articles of the Constitution. Meanwhile, President-elect Edgar Lungu and Vice President-elect Inongewina have submitted that the examination of the petition in some parts has exposed its deficiency. President-elect Edgar Lungu and Vice President-elect Inongewina have contended that they are necessary specification of both the Constitution and the Electoral Process Act, which they did not comply in the conduct of elections. President-elect Edgar Lungu and Vice President Inongewina are the first and second respondents to the 2016 presidential electoral petition. The first and second respondents have further argued that there is no presence of the purported provision of the Constitution or any law that specifically bounds them to create an environment conducive to the holding of transparent elections. The matter has been adjourned to tomorrow. Meanwhile, the judiciary has revealed that it has no space for the custody of ballot papers and other election materials as demanded by the petitioners of the 2016 presidential electoral petition. The revelation came when Constitutional Court Registrar Kelvin Limbani submitted that the judiciary is currently experiencing acute shortage of office accommodation and courtroom space for its judges and other officers. Mr. Limbani has submitted that the shortage of office accommodation for judges has led to the usage of conference rooms as offices by some judges of both the Court of Appeal and the Constitutional Court. This is contained in an affidavit in ex parte for an order of detention, custody preservation, and custody and order of interim injunction. But the second petitioner, Geoffrey Mwamba, has submitted that there is a real possibility that under the custody of the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, the ballot papers and other election materials would be destroyed, altered, and tampered with. Mr. Mwamba, who was also a running mate of United Party for National Development, UPND President Hakainde Hichilema, has also alleged that the ECZ has made adjustment to the presidential election results of Lundazi constituency. He has alleged that the ECZ has reduced from 29,979 to 21,979 votes allocated to President-elect Edgar Lungu and Vice President-elect Inongewina. The two want the Constitutional Court to nullify the election of President-elect Edgar Lungu and Vice President-elect Inongewina, who was his running mate. A clergyman in Kitwe has challenged political leaders not to play hide-and-seek in the wake of the August 11 post-election violence witnessed in some parts of the country. Reverend Emmanuel Shikaputo from King's Garden Church says this is not the time for politicians to remain silent about sporadic attacks being perpetrated by their followers on innocent citizens. He says the violence recorded in some regions will only be contained if political leaders openly tame their followers and speak against the vice. Reverend Shikaputo was speaking when he featured on ZNBC's Morning Live Thursday edition from Kitwe.
that we think is a common ground in Zambia is not cheap, and it is a commodity that Zambians need to export to outside, and at the same time value it even more, especially when many Zambians think that we can do or inflame our statements to the point where young people get caught up in the excitement of pushing for violence as an answer to a situation that has arisen in our country. And to this, the church is saying, slow down. Stop what you are playing with, especially violence and conflict.
The Civil Society for Poverty Reduction says it is disappointed by the failed referendum to enhance the Bill of Rights. CSPR Board Chairperson Isaac Ngoma says the country has lost a great opportunity to guarantee the much-needed rights for uplifting the social and economic welfare of its citizens. Mr. Ngoma says the failure of the referendum is partly attributed to lack of patriotism by key stakeholders, which include civil society organizations and political leaders who sent out discouraging messages to the voters. He told TV2 News in a statement that the amendment of the Bill of Rights through a referendum was a national matter which needed concerted efforts by all Zambians. And Mr. Ngoma called on the government, members of parliament and all other stakeholders to reflect on issues and urgently work towards the realization of the provisions contained in the enhanced Bill of Rights. The Bank of Zambia has, with immediate effect, closed 3 financial institutions and placed them under compulsory liquidation in accordance with the Banking and Financial Services Act of the laws of Zambia. This follows the Central Bank's board resolution passed on August 2nd, 2016. The closed firms are Setzam Financial Services PLC, Commercial Leasing Zambia Limited, and Genesis Financing Limited. The Bank of Zambia says it will appoint a liquidation manager for each of the closed financial institutions who will be in charge of the liquidation process. During the time of liquidation, the business operations of all the 3 financial services will be restricted to realization of assets and discharging of obligations of the company. The Central Bank further says, in accordance with the Banking and Financial Services Act, directors, shareholders, depositors and creditors of the 3 financial institutions have 30 days from the date of notice to file an objection to the liquidation or appeal to the court. This is according to a statement issued to ZNBC News by the Director, Non-Bank Financial Institution Supervision at the Bank of Zambia. This is the news on TV2 at 18 hours. We go for a break, but still to come. Chipembele Supermarket in Lusaka's Kalingalinga area gutted. Also coming up, the Teaching Council of Zambia warns colleges against engaging unqualified lecturers. Stay tuned for the details. Welcome back. We continue with the news. Lusaka Province Medical Officer Kennedy Malama says it is disheartening that some people with hepatitis end up with chronic liver disease or liver cancer. Dr. Malama says this should not be allowed to continue, especially that the disease is preventable. Dr. Malama was speaking today during the commemoration of World Hepatitis Day under the theme, Now Hepatitis, Act Now at Matero Clinic. And Lusaka District Administration Officer Clement Andeleki, who was the guest of honor, said hepatitis can be prevented through proven and effective interventions. Mr. Andeleki said it is important that everyone becomes aware of the disease.
Competing activities, we were not able to hold this event on the 28th of July. Nevertheless, it's gratifying that we are here today. The theme for the 2016 World Hepatitis Day is No Hepatitis, Act Now. And I think the theme is challenging all of us to take serious steps at individual, family, community, and institutional levels to know about this disease and start taking appropriate action.
I find this year's theme, No Hepatitis, Act Now, very interesting, because Our actions in the wake of hepatitis at community level largely describes the path we are taking towards combating viral hepatitis and is a wake-up call to all of us who may be or are already at risk. The lack of quick action and myths, as well as awareness, has all contributed to the high numbers of preventable deaths resulting from hepatitis.
Hepatitis is transmitted through contaminated water, food, contact with blood or bodily fluids, unsafe injections or transfusions. Infections can also occur from mother to child or through sexual contact. Now, fire has swept through Chipembele supermarket in Lusaka's Kalingalinga area, destroying goods worth thousands of kwacha. The fire is reported to have started around 22 hours last night. A TV2 news crew that rushed to the shop this morning found the supermarket still burning, with everything in the shop reduced to ashes. Landlord of the shop, Levi Chipembele, told TV2 News that he is saddened with the loss of his property. The cause of the fire has not yet been established. Meanwhile, 5 workers who were locked at a nearby bakery also escaped unhurt after the nearby shop caught fire.
It's really sad. It's really sad. As you have seen inside, all the things that were inside there, nothing is there to pick. Nothing, absolutely. Everything is completely burnt.
The Crossborder Traders Association of Zambia says it has received 97,000 euros from the European Union for the creation of information desks at Mpulungu, Nakonde and Luangwa entry points. Cross-Border Traders Association General Manager Mishek Chitanda says the association is working with the EU to ensure that cross-border traders have the necessary information to grow their business. Mr. Chitanda says the information desks are meant to help traders with relevant information about trade procedures. Meanwhile, Mr. Chitanda has said that business for the cross-border traders is slowly getting back to normal after the elections.
The traders have been identified to be among the key drivers of economic development. It is for this reason that their operations attract even the international community. The European Union wants this sector of the economy to grow. They are working with the Cross-Border Traders Association of Zambia to improve the welfare of the traders. Cross-Border Traders Association General Manager Mishek Chitanda says the international community is helping with creating awareness on various trade procedures.
So at the moment we've got 6 active trade information desks. The first 2 are funded by Peace for Trade, that is Mukambo and Kasumbalesa. Then you have got Chirondo, Mwami Border and Livingstone and Kariba. So recently EU funded us with close to 97,000 euros to establish 3 new trade information desks. The other one is in Pulungu to support the crate rakes. You know, there's a lot of business with the crate rakes. Then we've got Nakonde. Nakonde has got more traffic, even more than Kasumbalesa. Then we've got Luangwa to link up with Mozambique.
The association is also aware that its members are having challenges with implementing certain customs procedures, such as the simplified trade regime.
There is a lack of sensitization which has been done due to funding. So we are still appealing from donors, government to help us with sensitization so that people they can know that there is this project known as STR, whereby you don't pay certain goods within the commercial region, you don't pay duty.
Meanwhile, Mr. Chitanda has said that business for the cross-border traders is slowly getting back to normal after the elections. He has added that movements have been on the slow side, but he is hopeful that things will improve as the political situation in the country stabilizes. And traders at Komesa Market have regretted that business has been slow.
Business imaenda bwino but monga uno mwezi business yakosa muzi wabantu mlandu wa election. Vayopa ndalama sizioneka, so tankara chabe so chabe watu kagulisako kuti bana baende baite bwanji basurvive tuguleko kaunga na tumarasha bana bati.
The role of the cross-border traders in national development cannot be downplayed. Ruth Kamui, TV2 News in Lusaka.
The Lusaka City Council and a named company are putting up bus shelters across the city of Lusaka in the resurfaced roads. LCC Assistant Public Relations Manager Brenda Katongola has told TV2 News that 250 bus shelters across the city will be constructed and that so far the project is in progress. Ms. Katongola further said most of the bus stops were removed because they were not legalized and new bus stops with shelters will be constructed. Details in this report.
Soon, the city of Lusaka will change. This is because of the bus shelters being erected across the city. Drivers are happy with this new development on the roads.
I thank the government and the subcontractor and the council as well. And the most thing I would like is the RDA and the RATSA to give us those stations which are not yet gazetted. The stations are already gazetted, but there's no laybys. You know what I mean? Huh? There's no laybys, and we want those laybys to be put.
Association President for Motorists, Hagai Mambwe, says he is happy with the development as this will help most of the drivers to load from bus stops.
Well, I would like to thank the government, the LCC, where we had a meeting, which they promised that we are going to put up the shelters which the driver they have complained, and indeed also the members of the general public. Otherwise, job well done. We say thanks to the government if they can continue to do as what they have done.
Lusaka City Council Assistant Public Relations Brenda Katongola says 250 bus shelters are being put across the city of Lusaka and the project is in progress.
And then we're also putting up shelters with the named company. We have a contract with them. They are supposed to put about 250 sites of bus shelters across the city. And this company will put adverts, their own adverts. They will design them and then they are advertised on the same adverts. So they are the ones who are responsible for putting up those adverts.
Soon, the complaints of lack of bus stops will be history. Martha Banda, TV2 News in Lusaka.
In other news, the Teaching Council of Zambia has warned colleges to stop engaging unqualified lecturers. Council Registrar Ebi Mwanga says a recent survey revealed that some colleges were engaging unqualified lecturers contrary to the requirement by the council. Dr. Mwanga added that some colleges were also admitting students in colleges without proper qualifications. He warned that the practice was very common with private colleges, but warned that the council will not hesitate to punish erring colleges. Dr. Mwanga was speaking in an interview with TV2 News in Lusaka. And Council Vice Chairperson Unifrida Hanyika says registration of teachers will end on November 30, 2016. Ms. Hanyika says all teachers should be registered by November this year. We take another break, and on the other side, we come back with some international news as well as some sports news. Stay with us. Welcome back. We continue with the rest of the news. In foreign news, the death toll in the Italian earthquake has risen to at least 241 as thousands of rescuers continue efforts to find survivors. Dozens are believed trapped in mountains in central Italy. The search went on through the night and there was a strong aftershock which rocked already damaged buildings. More than 4,300 rescuers are using heavy lifting equipment and their bare hands. In sports news, the Chipolo Polo Soccer Fans Association has praised Zesco United Football Club for putting up a spirited fight to qualify to the semi-finals of the CAF Champions League. Association chairperson Yota Mwanza says Zesco FC should be commended for qualifying to the semi-finals, but called on them to ensure they prepare adequately for the stage. Zesco United, who finished second in Group A, will face Group B winners Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa over 2 legs in September for a place in the final. Zambia's CAF Champions League envoys drew 1-0 against Morocco's Wydad Casablanca in a game played at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium in Ndola yesterday.
United, I think they've done a fantastic job in qualifying to the semi-finals of the Champions League. It's not easy. I think it's teamwork from the bench, from the sponsors, Zesco United, and indeed just about everybody, including the fans and those stakeholders. They've done the best they can for them to qualify to the semi-finals. I think they must not sit back. They need to be able to prepare for the semi-finals against Mamelodi Sundowns. It will be a tough game. You know that Mamelodi have topped on the other side, so it's important that we also prepare adequately for this game. But I think it's kudos to Zesco United for a job well done. We hope it has opened up an avenue for other teams in the Zambian League that can be able to perform to this level and expectation. We hope again that Zesco United should be able to move one step better into the finals and indeed win the cup.
And in international sports, Kenyan athletes are stranded in a Rio shanty town where gunshots can be heard following the closure of the Olympic Village. Wesley Koriro, a marathon runner who is also an independent MP, said officials delayed their return home as they looked for a cheap flight. Team Kenya has been dogged by allegation of mismanagement at Rio. Sports Minister Hassan Wario says the government has responded by disbanding the National Olympic Committee of Kenya and ordering an investigation into the problems the team faced in Rio. Kenya won 6 gold medals, 6 silver and a bronze at the Games, which ended on Sunday. As we end the news, here's a reminder of the top stories. The Constitutional Court has thrown out 52 witness statements of the 2016 presidential electoral petition. The witness statements filed by the petitioners have been thrown out for non-compliance with the rules of the Constitutional Court. The Bank of Zambia has with immediate effect closed 3 financial institutions and placed them under compulsory liquidation in accordance with the Banking and Financial Services Act of the laws of Zambia. This follows the Central Bank's board resolution passed on 2nd August 2016. Well, that's it. That's the news at 18 hours. We'll be back at 20 hours with another detailed news bulletin. My name is Chilufia Mwelwa. Bye-bye.